Hello, Dr. Karen here. This is episode 45 of the Healthy Habits, Healthy Life, which is my weekly series, just to share with you some of the things that I do on a daily basis that may be helpful to you in your life. And whatever feels like a resonance, consider trying it out, see if it works for you. And if not, that's okay too. So many people ask me, like, how do you do this? Or how do you do that? Or how do you have time for this or that? And then instead of giving it to you in like, you know, a bazillion hour course, I decided to do little videos every week to share with you some of these things. So today's topic is on this skill set I call intuitive impressioning. It's my label for the skill of feeling into something. So I actually have a chapter with more in detail instructions in my Sensitivity is Your Superpower book, How to Harness Your Gifts, Fulfill Your Purpose, and Create a Life of Joy. And in this chapter, I go step by step on how to do it. I am actually going to share with you kind of like the generalities of how it's done and why do it in the first place. Hi, Maria. So, what is it, first of all? So, intuitive impressioning is my label for the practice and skill of feeling into something. And now that could be a place, that could be a situation, that could be a person, that could be a future reality. That's where it gets really interesting. And making a decision from that place of having felt into a situation or place or thing. So let me give you an example. So I was in the grocery store earlier today, and I had a thing where I was like, oh, guacamole would be really good. So I was like, oh, let's see, what do I like with guacamole? Well, normally you have some sort of corn chip, right? Now I also have cucumbers and carrots and all that, but I wanted some corn chips as well, or some sort of thing that tasted like that crunch. I'm kind of a crunch person. So when it comes to junk food, if there's, a judgment about junk food, I'd much rather be on the chip eating side or the popcorn chip eating side rather than the candy cakes, ice cream side, right? That I could pretty much take it or leave it, chocolate, whatever. It's fine. I mean, I like the flavor, but if I didn't have it the rest of my life, I'd be fine with that. As far as the crunch, though, that is something that I really like texture wise. And I think I like the salt as well. I do bless all my food. We had another video on that. That being said, so I was looking in the chip aisle for some sort of tortilla chip or something. And yes, I do read the ingredients and I'm mostly, looking at the organic, non-GMO aisle, right? But there's still a lot of different companies, and it all sometimes looks good on paper. When you read the ingredients, you're like, well, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it used to be. It's not GMO corn, maybe it's made with a different kind of oil that's better. Anyway, so a lot of them are very similar. So how intuitive impressioning would work is literally me, in this case, I'm in the store. So I'm looking at this brand and I am feeling into what it would be like to eat it with the guacamole in this case. And that would include what the texture feels like in my mouth, as well as the taste, the saltiness, um, the flavorings, that kind of thing, and how my body would feel eating that. Now, I have to be perfectly honest. My body, in terms of eating it, was like, "Yay, guacamole! Tortilla chips, I can leave. It's okay. It's okay." you know. However, what I did notice as I was doing intuitive impressioning and feeling into the different brands, I could feel like as if I'm eating it, the texture and the taste. Now there was a brand, actually don't remember the name of it right now, but we had bought previously. My husband really liked it, and I remember tasting some of that, and I was like, "Ooh, that's yummy!" Almost like too tasty, if you know what I mean. And it was like pico de gallo flavor. And the same company had one that was sea salt, right? Tortilla chips, organic ground corn, yada yada. So I'm looking at the two, and I reached for the pico de gallo first because we knew that we did like that, right? We did like that flavor previously, and was like munching it, and really enjoyed it previously. But today it was really interesting. I looked at it. I you know, felt into it as if I was eating it. And I was like, the flavors are a little too whoa, like loud. Okay. I don't know how else to describe it, but just loud. And I thought, do I really want that today? Hmm. So then I picked up the sea salt one. Now, normally I'm in the past being a chip connoisseur. In the past, I'd be more into the flavored versus than sea salt. I'm like, why am I paying all this money for just sea salt, right? Like, give me some lime, give me some something. And so I picked up the sea salt one, looked at the texture, the thickness, and then I felt it and tasted it in my mouth and thought, yeah, that, yes, that with guacamole is going to be better. And then I looked at some of the other brands and again was just really quickly feeling into it like, no, it's okay. It's okay. And this was the best one. So that's the one I bought. Now, this took all of about 3, 4 minutes. It's not, it takes me longer to describe it than to actually do it. And this can be done for a whole bunch of different things as well. Now, I tell people in my book, it's probably not a good idea necessarily just to rely on muscle testing or just relying on intuitive impressioning for really big life decision. However, it can be really, really helpful and cut down the time that you need to make a bigger decision. So, for example, somebody wanting to know which college to go to or, which house to buy. So, a friend of mine actually was just about ready to buy a house, and she described it, and it sounded like a great investment for her, and it sounded kind of fun with what she was saying, right? And I just happened to just share as like, well, if you picture yourself there and you feel good in your body, she's a sensitive soul. So I said, if you feel good, then yeah, then definitely a yes, like make that investment for sure. So she actually took what I said to heart. And what she realizes when she did start feeling into her being there, it didn't feel as good as the idea of being there and buying it. And this room could be used for yoga, this could be for this and that. The actual experience of living in that home before actually living in that home was not satisfying. So she actually turned around and said, "No, I'm not buying it." So that's what I mean by the power of our abilities, our innate intuitive abilities to be able to feel into this. Yes, it's a skill, but a skill can be learned and a skill can be practiced and made more and more proficient. Everyone has the ability to do it. It's just a matter of will, whether you want to practice it or not. And yeah, can you get things wrong sometimes? Yeah, sometimes. Maybe if you're just starting out, maybe not deciding on big life decisions like right away as your very first thing. Maybe it's just going to a restaurant. If you go to a restaurant to eat with your loved one or alone or whoever, right? And you pick up the menu. Now the server may say, "Oh, we have a special tonight," and da 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 da. Right. So you don't even get to look at the menu. But say you're looking at the menu and deciding what to eat. You can go through the menu and you can actually feel into, okay, what would it feel like to eat this? Texture, taste, smell, and then, how my body would feel, right? And that's a way that you can make a decision at the restaurant. And I've done that many times. Now, sometimes I'll, back it up by doing divine muscle testing. It's usually pretty close to 100%. Or if I want to have some fun, I'll take my pendulum out and I'll do a little pendulum just to see if it's turning the right way and giving me a yes. And it's amazing how quickly, once you have the intention to do this, the will to do this, and practice, how quickly you can make a decision. I used to sit there. Oh my gosh, how long? You used to sit there in front of a menu, especially, at a restaurant that has like way too many choices, right? And I would just take a long time to make a decision because I'm trying to decide from my brain, my left brain, like logic. Okay, well, that one's organic, that one's not. It's chicken. Well, I had chicken the other night, but maybe I should have beef, maybe round out things. And well, actually, no, I haven't. I haven't had fish for a long time, but is their fish really good? I'm not really sure. And then so yeah, but I don't really like kale on this and raw kale. No, so I don't want that one because it's all combined with kale. And you know what I mean? So all this brainiac way of making decisions, it can drive you nuts. And these days, when the life or the speed of life seems so fast, it can be really helpful to have this skill, this feeling into skill, this intuitive impressioning skill to make your life a lot easier. And that could also mean, for example, somebody asks you to a party or Thanksgiving or something like that, right? You could feel into being at their home, even if you don't know what it looks like. This is very interesting. Even if you don't know what their home looks like, and they're like, "Oh yeah, my parents are coming, my brother's coming, da 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 da," right? You could literally feel into that situation and feel the energy. It's a little bit more advanced, but you can feel into the energy of what it would feel like to be there. Now, I will sometimes go and do this before I go into the store or a store. Um, and I might say to myself, okay, well, probably not exactly the energy I want to immerse myself in for very long. So I'm going to keep my time shorter. The other thing I can do, of course, is feel into it first and then make a shift. So then I can do a healing on the property or the energy of the property before I get there. Now, sometimes I don't bother, honestly, because I'm only there for 5 minutes. However, it's still handy, right, to be able to do that. And like I said, all of us have the ability. It's just a matter of will to remember to use it and to practice it. And this is great when you have young kids because they don't have this filter of I can't or it's not possible or what's this woo woo stuff. It's full of bullshit, right? They don't have this stuff. So if you practice with young children, you can have them, if you want, close their eyes and imagine what it's like and see if that helps them make future decisions. And that's one of the ways where honestly when I've gone to a Halloween party or a Christmas party, something like that, and there's all these like cookies and cakes and sweets and all this stuff, right? A lot of people would automatically just go, "Ooh, pretty, looks yum," right? And just stuff their faces in. And whereas I would actually literally like taste it ahead of time. Now, one time I went to a party and they had out, I didn't bring it, they had out like so-called healthier options. Okay, so they had like carrots and celery and some sort of dip. I think it was commercial store-bought dip, but anyway, it was, and I looked at it and my brain took over. My brain says, well, there's all these cookies and cakes and yada yada yada. So yeah, so eat the healthier option. Well, no, no further did I put that carrot in my mouth, and I was like, ugh, spit it out. Ugh. It was awful. Well, it wasn't organic, first of all, but that I didn't really care. Like I thought carrot's a carrot, right? Like how bad could it be? Oh, it was bad. It tasted like chemicals. So I was like, like going to the kitchen and just kind of subtly, I was like, okay, note to self. Yeah, don't assume that just because it looks theoretically healthier than some of the other food that it is. So I was, yeah, after that, I was like, every party that I was going to, I'm like, okay, I'm going to feel into how this feels eating this or drinking this. And is it 100%? Not really. However, when I am in front of, free stuff, sometimes people are like, oh, it's free. I got to eat it. Right. So Hershey's bar or whatever, that kind of thing. Um, I'll look at it and then I'll be just like, right? And then move on. And not a lot of people can do that because they almost like remember like their childhood and they go, ooh, I remember when I was 5 and I had a Hershey's bar and I had a really great Halloween and it was so fun. And so they're feeling back into the past, into how it tasted back then. And of course, well, the ingredients have changed. So now there's all this other stuff in there that we can't pronounce. But anyway, before it was like milk, sugar, cream, chocolate, right? And so they're remembering that and then expecting it to taste like that today. And if they're not aware, they will just override their actual senses to go, I want more. Now, of course, there's an addictive component as well. Food manufacturers have studied this and spent, millions, if not billions of dollars studying what will make us addicted and what will make us eat more, right? However, when you're really clear and you tune in, often your body will give you those signals. So that's why, for example, my husband, would we buy different, types of chocolate as a treat, whatever, and he'll offer me a square. And there were some that are, I mean, they're, better um, brands, if you will. And I'll look at it and go, it's okay. Thanks anyway, honey, right? It's not a big deal. Like, I don't feel like I'm missing out or anything like that. The other day, he decided, I don't know where he got them. Anyway, he got German chocolate from Germany. And I thought, I have had German chocolate before from my German friends. It was very good. So when he did offer it to me, I was felt into that and like, yes. And so I ate one little square and thought, yeah, this is very good. And none of the other chocolate around here tastes like this. And I think their cows are different as well there. It was milk chocolate. So I did eat more than I normally would for chocolate. But I also knew that my body was okay with it because it felt into that. It liked the taste. It liked how it felt. That's okay. So yeah, so intuitive impressioning, again, it is chapter 9 in my sensitivity is your superpower book. So I put a link near this video where you can find out more about that. And there's also a course that I have that it's called Intuitive Decision Making Roadmap. And in that course, we actually, why do I say we? It's like me and the angels. Anyway, so I teach, yeah, they're like, yeah, that's fine. You can say we. So we teach divine muscle testing. We teach how to problem solve if you have some issues, divine muscle testing, especially if you're a highly sensitive person and you're feeling a lot of energies. And we teach that in module 2, how to fix some of those problems. And then we teach you internal muscle testing, which doesn't require any sort of muscle movement at all. And then last but not least, we teach you intuitive impressioning. And the cool thing about the intuitive decision making roadmap program is that it's very participatory. Ooh, I said that word correctly. Participatory. What it means is that you don't just sit there and watch and go, right? You're actually doing the work while you're watching, or you should ideally be doing the work while you're watching. And so you really, we have certain scenes, we have you do exercises, right? So you really get some practice in there in a safe space. So you can check that out as well. So I've put that link near this video, the intuitive decision making roadmap, and see if that interests you. Definitely in that chapter 9, in sensitivity is your superpower, that book, we have the step-by-step instructions, and I just gave you some solid examples today. So thank you so much for joining me for the Healthy Habits, Healthy Life this week. And for those that are joining me live, thank you so much for being here. Let's see. Yeah, that's great. Maria, of course you're feeling into stuff, right? Like that is just like your mode. It's very awesome. I know what you mean. I tell my husband, hold on, I'm making a life decision. That's great. And menu photos can be deceiving. Yes, that is true for for some of the menu items. And when the server's coming around and they're talking about the special, I'm already tasting the special as they're talking, and that's one of the ways that I make a decision. Like I said, I've made other decisions that are like, oh, this wasn't what I was ideally wanting to taste, but that's okay. We live and we learn and get some more experience, right? So go out and practice that. Would love for you to, if you watch this, if you're already doing it, if you're watching this on the replay, comment, let me know what your habits have been, whether you've already been doing intuitive impressioning, not really knowing that you're doing, and then what have you been doing it for? Have you been doing it for making little decisions like what to eat tonight, or big decisions like where to move, what house to buy, who to marry? Just kidding. You know what I mean? So let us know. And maybe you have another word for that kind of thing. The feeling into piece is so huge. This is one of the things that is going to really serve us going forward with the pace of life right now. If you did everything just from logic in the left brain, it'll take you forever, and you will be wrong more times than if you used your whole brain, right? Including that right brain intuitive side. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you next week for the next episode of Healthy Habits, Healthy Life. Bye for now.